Hawthorne. I'm the sheriff of Chambers County. We've had a major incident here with a felonious act or multiple felonious acts that pushed law enforcement into taking action, and the action resulted in the assailant's death. Most of this all got started in Harris County. So I'm going to let Sheriff Ed Gonzalez from Harris County kind of fill you in on the timelines and the circumstances that got started, and then I can kind of finish it in what actually took place here that caused the death of the assailant.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. Before getting started, I want to thank Sheriff Hawthorne and his entire team for their swift action and partnership. They helped us conclude this in the best way possible, and also taking a point of personal privilege just to extend our prayers and thoughts to the Mount Bellevue community, the Chambers community. I know they were hit very hard recently with recent storms and everything, so our thoughts are with them as well as they continue to recover. This morning, just shy of 6 a.m. at approximately 5:54 a.m., Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies in North Harris County received a disturbance call at the 9400 block of Desert Flower, which is near 249 and Fallbrook area. Actually, it's in close proximity to where we had the murder-suicide yesterday. But upon arrival, what they learned was that a family member had reported that her relative and her 3-year-old child had been kidnapped from the location at gunpoint by the alleged suspect that was said to be the husband of the female and the father of the child. It appears that the male did force entry into the location and also fired shots inside the location. We don't know if he was pointing at anyone, but he did fire shots at that point, and then he fled the location in unknown direction of travel, again with the female. Now we believe that they were common law marriage, and the 3-year-old, and he was the biological father of the 3-year-old. They fled the location. Deputies remained on scene, as well as investigators from the sheriff's office that also responded to the scene, and the follow-up investigation began immediately. At some point later, at approximately 9:15 a.m., with the assistance of the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, they were spotted traveling in the Fort Bend County area. So a pursuit ensued at that point when the suspect refused to stop. A pursuit began basically from Fort Bend and then traveling through different parts, finally arriving here at Chambers County, where shots were fired at approximately 9:05 a.m. So the pursuit in total happened about 45 minutes. There were a number of agencies that were involved. I've already acknowledged and thanked the Chambers County Sheriff's Office, DPS, Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, Harris County Constables, including 3, 6, and 7, the Mount Bellevue Police Department, and the Baytown Police Department also lent a hand, and of course our Sheriff's Office deputies that were here on scene. So everyone worked seamlessly, even with the number of agencies working together. Air support was instrumental in being able to call a part of the pursuit. Everybody aligned perfectly. And again, all the actions at this point were determined by the suspect ultimately. He had ample opportunity to stop. These two individuals were in harm's way. Understanding just a little bit of their background, there was a long history of abuse. The couple had recently split up about 2 weeks ago, and he had remained very threatening towards her, threatening to kill her, and he believed he was possibly heading towards the Mexico border to flee, and that's why he was heading towards the Fort Bend County area. And so again, law enforcement really saved lives today. There's no doubt that they were going to be in harm's way had the Chambers County Sheriff's Office not intervened so quickly, and all law enforcement that remained vigilant in pursuit. So I'll pause now, and then I'll let the sheriff continue, and then we'll answer questions.
So at some time during this pursuit, one of Sheriff Gonzalez's investigators ended up on the telephone with the assailant, and ultimately gave them an address. Obviously the investigators were trying to get him to give himself up. At that time, they had realized there were 3 different felonies taking place. You had kidnapping, and there had been shots fired. They already knew there was a weapon in the vehicle. It was an AR-style weapon. Ultimately, the Rosenberg Police Department notified us of the address that they were headed to, so our SRT team, our special response team, was able to set up. Obviously, we did not want him to get to the house because evidently there are allegedly 2 more children that he may have been coming to get, and obviously we didn't want that to take place. So the special response team set up. He wouldn't give himself up. He reached for what they believe was the weapon, and they neutralized this situation. And sure enough, there is a weapon laying within his reach. So there's no question about it. That's what was taking place. And since he'd already had shots fired and kidnapped him, it was definitely the right thing to do, because at this point in time, we didn't need it to turn into a bigger issue as it was, or we didn't want any more people taking hostage. So Ed, if you have anything final remarks you want to add?
Yeah, just a few more things. This is a Hispanic family. The deceased male, 39 years of age, the female, 29 years of age, and the toddler, 3 years of age. And again, based on her immediate thoughts, she had no doubt that he was going to kill her, and most likely the child as well. Again, this comes on the heels of us investigating a murder-suicide yesterday. I believe HPD investigated a double murder and a suicide this morning. So again, really speaks to the dangerous nature of domestic violence situations, and again, the situations that law enforcement places them every day in protection of the community, having to make those split-second decisions. There's no doubt this was going to end up very badly, and it's a miracle he didn't shoot the child and this female prior to him being taken out. I'll just say briefly in Spanish, and then we'll answer questions with the sheriff. Esta mañana aproximadamente a las casi a las 6 de la mañana recibimos una llamada en una casa en la parte norte del condado, y a responder determinamos de que un sospechoso había secuestrado a su ex esposa y a su niño de 3 años que estaban en la casa. Ella había huido porque él había estado amenazando y la había abusado por mucho tiempo, y decidió terminar la relación, y él no iba a aceptar eso. Entonces la secuestró al punto de arma. Comenzó a huir del local. La oficina del alguacil de Fort Bend los encontraron y se puso en fuga, y los siguieron a este local. Y al final la oficina del alguacil del condado de Chambers, 2 de sus agentes le dispararon a él y lo mataron aquí, y las 2 víctimas, la mujer y el niño de 3 años, no resultaron con ninguna herida. Entonces vamos a hacer una investigación muy grande. The Texas Rangers and the Chambers County Sheriff's Office will be the lead investigative agency when it comes to the officer-involved shooting that occurred out here. It's my understanding 2 of their members fired shots. And the Harris County Sheriff's Office will be investigating just what led up to this moment, the initial kidnapping and everything, just to make sure everything's documented perfectly. And you know, our thoughts and prayers go out to the surviving family members. You know, we know they went through a lot, and we pray for their recovery. There's going to be a victim advocate here to support her as they witnessed this and went through this, and it was really a scary situation. Sure.
A special thanks to the Mont Belvieu Police Department. They're part of our Chambers County Regional Special Response Team, and they were very instrumental in helping us set up and neutralize this very dangerous situation. And with that, we'll take any questions.
Sherry, when you say he was headed to a house, was it the home they used to share, and what area was it?
No, so the area would have been in what we call the plantation area. The street was actually on, the home is actually on Caroline. Exactly the circumstance of that home is still part of the investigation.
But some family members lived there.
It's our understanding there were more children there that he was coming to get. That was the information that we're getting through third party, through dispatchers, all right, from him talking to some of Ed's investigators on the phone that were trying to talk him down.
So he was headed that way to the house.
Correct.
Stopped him before.
Right.
And give some perspective. I mean, that's Plantation Drive right there, so he was pretty darn close when this happened, right? I mean,
correct. And there's a short county road that then goes into a private subdivision. It's a private subdivision back there. And obviously we didn't want him back into the subdivision, homes and people and children, and actually where the stop and the neutralization took place, there are no homes, or it's just trees and fences.
And those are his children?
The child that was in the car, we do know is his. The other 2 alleged children. We're not sure. It's part of the investigation.
You talked about
Time the abuse has been reported in the home.
You know, I'm going to need to turn that over to Sheriff Gonzalez.
Just the initial conversation I had with her, she indicated there's been a long history of abuse. She was staying with a relative here recently, so I don't know what was reported or if it was unreported, but that's what she said, is there had been a long history of abuse. He had threatened to kill her, abused her, and she had finally tried to leave away. And we always say that sometimes that's the most dangerous time, is that final escape or separation, because some just aren't going to accept it. We're told he had a total of 6 children in total, but that was, I think they shared others, but that was his 3-year-old. He had children from a separate relationship.
So the house he kidnapped her and the child from, this is where he previously stated he broke in and shot 5.
I don't know if he stayed there. She was staying there as part of her kind of escape. She was staying with a family member that was there, and he went this morning, early morning, and began threatening her and fired shots inside, and he forced entry and took her against her will. ¿Tienes una foto?
el niño de 3 años es hijo del sospechoso.
Es hijo del sospechoso.
How is she?
She's shaken, but she's going to be okay. She always felt it was going to kind of come to something like this, and she was right. And so very scary. But we have a victim advocate out here that's supporting her, which is something that very common in law enforcement now, that we want to make sure that we're supporting them as they navigate a very traumatic situation.
When they made it to Fort Bend County, deputies made contact with him there.
They just got into pursuit with him. All right. They spotted him, and they knew that Harris County had put out an attempt to locate because of obviously the welfare, and it was a kidnapping. So
How many deputies shot him?
two of our trained snipers from
From
the
Chambers
special
County?
response team. Yeah, from Chambers County Special Response Team. Your original question, Chief Deputy John Leger just informed me that the other 2 children are his biological children by another mother, and they are safe in school. They were already in school. So
So they weren't in that house.
they were not in the house, or it does not appear they were in the house.
What can you tell us about the weapon that he had?
The only thing I can tell you for sure is it's a 5.56 assault style weapon, but at this point it's evidence, and so we've not touched it. We're letting the Rangers and the crime scene and investigators handle his weapon.
Did he actually draw the gun at deputies? Did he say something? What led to that?
Well, there are 3 things that we focus on from a law enforcement perspective. One, he'd already shots were already fired, identified when he kidnapped him. So we've got a kidnapping there. Also, when he was talking to Sheriff Gonzalez's investigator, he is talking about doing suicide by police. So there are all kinds of things that we obviously know he's a desperate man. That if he's already shot his weapons once, it's not for us to wait for him to shoot his weapon again. And so I commend the officers on the decisions that they made. They're very tough decisions, and it's all about the safety of the victims.
So was this Rosenberg or Sugar Land that came from in Fort Bend County? Do we know?
I can't answer that. I can just tell you that Rosenberg PD is the one that called our sheriff's office and was informing us of where he was headed to.
Were you guys able to kind of like barricade the road, or how did y'all actually get him to stop right there?
They barricaded the road. It's a narrow drive, 2-lane road. It's got fences on both sides and trees, and they were able to take our Chambers County police cars. So he knew it was law enforcement that was blockading him from getting to the house.
And did he actually get out of the car?
Part of the investigation, so I don't want to answer that. At this time, he's not in the car, but I don't know the circumstances of the actual. That'll be part of the investigation.
They applied spike strips as well, right? Yep.
And they also had done spike strips. Ed reminded me, they're right when he turned the corner, they had put spike strips down to obviously stop the vehicle. It did not stop him. What stopped him was the blockade. So,
With him having made, according to her, previous threats of killing her, had, Chambers County Sheriff's Office not acted so swiftly and made that tough call at that point, in my mind at least, and just based on our experience with everything in totality, there's probably no doubt he was probably going to raise that weapon or a weapon to kill at least the female and then shoot himself based on, we can't read into his mind. I'm just in totality based on what she conveyed on his threats and what his actions were today. And so, again, I commend them very much for their professionalism and quick action, because it takes that split second, and if they acted a second too late, they could have been dead, and yeah, maybe he would have died afterwards, but those innocent lives would have been killed as well.
So when you look at the circumstances, this was actually a good situation because you saved who you needed to.
We saved who we needed to. He determined ultimately what his outcome was going to be. Many times he had ample opportunity. Like I said, the pursuit lasted for about 45 minutes. When he fled the location, all these different factors, most times they have time to stop and do the right thing, comply, turn themselves in. We just had in this country in Charlotte, multiple officers killed. And again, we didn't want any law enforcement hurt out of this. They're doing their jobs. And then as well, these two innocent lives. No one deserves to be in an abusive relationship. She was deciding to end it once and for all. She had sought shelter with a family member, and she was trying to do the right thing. But these situations, again, it shows that they'll hunt you down and find you, and they're hell bent on doing that. And that's what he did today. And it's luckily that she didn't die today.
And one last question, Sheriff. Rosenberg, was there a reason why he fled to that? Was there someone he was, or just randomly?
We don't know. What we determined was Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office were the ones that were in pursuit, which is in Rosenberg area. Just anecdotally, what I'm hearing from family is that one of the threats he had made was that he had threatened to potentially take her to Mexico and kill her. That had been a threat he had made in the past. So going in that direction, it could be that perhaps that's where he was going. But again, there's ample follow-up investigation that would be done to determine what was in his mind. But it was no good ultimately, whatever he was intending to do.
And Sheriff, is there anything you all would have done differently? Are you proud of what you all did?
No, I'm extremely proud of the response of our Sheriff's Office, the Harris County Sheriff's Office, the Fort Bend Sheriff's Office, the Constable's Office, Mont Bellevue PD, Baytown PD. Fortunately, we really do have an open line of communication. Myself and Sheriff Gonzalez have a great relationship, and it really pays off in situations like this, because our men know that he and I are friends, and they immediately automatically start working together. And so the communication was good, and I would not have wanted our special response team to do anything different. This was all about the children and the wife, and then obviously saving the other children that he was obviously coming to find. So.
For anybody who wants to, during the chase and all that, what was the speed like? And then also, were there any shots fired by the suspect itself during the chase itself?
So, to our knowledge, there weren't any shots fired during the pursuit, but I will tell you it was a very high-speed pursuit. And from the times that they were giving me, he got here extremely fast. Obviously, there's no doubt in my mind that the speeds had to be up well around 100 miles an hour plus, and obviously morning traffic. So fortunately, we were able to get through all of that safely. So anything else that we can answer real quick? Go ahead.
How much longer will y'all be out here, do you think?
I think we'll be out here for quite a while longer, and I don't mind doing a few personal interviews one-on-one, and I'm sure that Sheriff Gonzalez doesn't mind either, but we wanted to get this out to you so you could get it up if you wanted to.
The body's still here?
Yes.
It is. We won't finalize anything with the body till the Texas Rangers, who are going to be the lead, and then my crime scene units will be assisting them. And then once that's wrapped up, then obviously the body will go off to the Harris County Coroner's Office, probably, or it could, sometimes we use the Jefferson County Coroner's Office. I don't know which one it'll go to.
What kind of vehicle you was in?
Appears to be a four-door sedan of some kind.
It's a
Like
Jetta.
yeah.
It's a Jetta. Thank you, Cap.
How many officers are on scene, approximately?
Oh, I would say 40 to 50. Right now, most of them are investigators trying to make sure we put the pieces together right.
During the chase, there's probably like maybe 20, half that.
During the actual chase, I'll bet there weren't that many because when you figure they were just picking them up, and then some of the agencies were dropping off as other agencies were picking it up. So.
And even that seemed to work, just monitoring the radio very seamlessly as well, just as we were passing on to different agencies that were taking lead, and then getting air support was very crucial. So we were trying to monitor as many of the intersections as we could to kind of block them off as we were going. We just, unfortunately, in this type of situation, we really couldn't lose them or lose sight of them, because it was really a matter of life or death. He could have just pulled over at any moment and taken them out. And we just, it was, again, a lot of high stakes, very tense situation, but it all turned out well.
Was the toddler a boy or a girl?
A boy. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.